Sunday Ramble, episode 5. I don't really know what I'm going to call this one. Hey everybody, it's Prince of Queens, and I'm kind of hungry, but I'm going to do this before I go to the store and get myself some food, because reasons. That being said, people are forced to act less bigoted than they are when it's hip to not be bigoted, and then act more bigoted than they are when it's trendy to be an edgelord. I wanted to talk about this for a number of reasons, because people have a hard time conceptualizing that such a thing is the case. Like, I've been ranting a lot about gay church ladies recently, because they just, oh my god, like gay guys that get out of touch with culture at large. That's supposed to be a skill of gay men. Gay men are supposed to be really good with fashion and trends and understanding the shape of culture and everything, supposedly. And I think that I don't know if it comes naturally to gay men. I don't think that there's anything particular about gay men as gay men. I think it's more so that gay men find themselves in a place where you are a minority, and you're a rather unfavorable minority. Nobody really has much of anything good to say about gay men. Like, what's to like about inherently selfish guys who don't have to worry about their family, who stick their dicks in other guys' butts, which is, you know, it is technically a dirty practice. There's nothing really that good about the population of gay men objectively, aside from the fact that it forces some gay men to rise above that stigma and to make themselves worthwhile in the grand scheme of things. And due to that, you know, adversarial position that gay men find themselves in, like due to being at odds with society, a lot of gay men adapt and become very, very good at understanding and capitalizing upon seeing different angles of social interaction. You know, I would say that there's a lot of good gay actors that are out there, and it's because gay men have to kind of act their whole lives. Like, as soon as you start to realize that you're different, you start acting and writing. And, you know, like, I would say that I'm a fairly decent writer, if for no other reason than because of the fact that I've felt compelled over the course of my life to get, I've felt compelled over the course of my life to get to know very, very many different types of people. You know, straight women, straight guys, gay men, trans people, blah, 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 blah. And I do feel that it's largely because I feel like I don't really fit into society. So I should try to understand every corner, every dynamic that might potentially present itself, so that I'm prepared. Because there's never going to be some easy role for me to just sort of sign up for, you know? Like, if you went on the Starship Enterprise, where's the Prince of Queens role? I'm most like Deanna Troi out of all of them. I actually always thought that, and then my friend had me take a test that was like, which Star Trek The Next Generation character are you? And he was like, you think that you're Deanna Troi, but I don't think you are. I think that you're, I don't remember who he thought that I was going to be, but then I got Deanna Troi, and he was actually kind of annoyed. That's a little bit of a side tangent, but yeah, like, gay guys are supposed to understand these things about society. They're supposed to understand trends and have, like, insights into people, but a large amount of gay guys just don't. And I think it's largely because they're kind of spoiled rotten, and not even just spoiled rotten, but they're spoiled miserable. Gay guys have gotten so spoiled over the past 10 years that they've made themselves miserable. It's like The when I was a kid, I was like this actually. It's kind of like a kid who whose parents just let them eat whatever they want and never makes them get any exercise. I was like that for a few years, like probably between the 5th grade and the 9th grade. I was like that, and I just sat around eating Costco candy bars and everything, and I got all heavy and like yeah, but I was actually miserable. Those were like the worst years of my life. But you know, it's not like I understood the cause and effect because I was just a kid. Well, I think gay guys are kind of like that. Like a lot of gay guys, the gay guys have lived in urban meccas. Like it's been socially acceptable for the past 15-18 years for the most part to be gay if you live in urban meccas. And even in the past, you know, 5, 6, 7 years, it's largely okay in suburban areas. From what I understand, it seems like that from playing video games with people. Like, it doesn't really seem like people actually care about gay guys really a whole bunch. Like, they're gonna bash them. And it seems like there's a lot of gay guys who have just gotten really, really used to being around other gay guys and never having to worry about thinking about things. And things have changed, and they've gotten used to this notion of being oppressed, and it does seem to be a part of their identity. Like, it seems like they almost sort of enjoy that, and they feel like they're allowed to whine about things, and they don't realize that it's like, okay, it's actually harmful when you're whining about things and there's nothing really to whine about. Like when you're calling homophobia out where it pretty obviously doesn't exist, it's depressing and it's counterproductive. But what these gay guys should remember is that, yes, there are always definitely going to be people who act less bigoted than they really, really are, simply because it's trendy. But it turns out that they are kind of bigoted, and these people come in all flavors. Like, it's not like the conservatives are all just showing their true colors now that Trump is elected. If anything, I think conservative have largely evolved. But there's a massive amount of people on the left who, you know, like, apparently only were ever cool with gay guys because they were like kind of supposed to. And now that feminists are telling them that they don't have to be anymore and that gay guys are problematic, then all of a sudden these like bro ass leftist soy boy type people are hating on gays and saying that they will, you know, like, they're like, oh, gay guys can be fascists too. Look at Milo Yiannopoulos. Oh! And so that's annoying. But then the other thing to keep in mind is that the edgelord thing is a real phenomenon. Like, it's trendy in certain parts of the internet, certainly, to be an edgelord. It's a little bit less trendy than it was probably in 2016. 2016, it was really, really trendy to be an edgelord. And now people are kind of over it. Like, it's not really that funny anymore to just, you know, say words. Well, maybe it's also because we are getting our channels censored so much. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. But man, culture shifts drastically. Once every 8 years, different political administrations really, really, really change how people behave as a greater whole. And I think that you have to get a little bit older to truly anticipate it. I learned about this in college. I had some really great teachers that were able to look at artistic movements through the lens of the political periods that were going on in the times. So they were able to talk about, you know, World War II and what was going on and in arts and philosophy and everything. And then also like bring that to parts of my life that I kind of remembered, like the shift between the Reagan and Bush senior years to the Clinton years and how that changed everything in arts and culture. And I could see it. I was like, oh, yeah, that all makes sense now. And but somebody had to point that out to me in college. I didn't realize that naturally as a young person due to the fact that it's really hard. You have to have that perspective, and somebody has to explain that to you for it to click. Or you just have to get old. And some people get old and they never understand the grand scheme of cultural trends and how they change over the years. There's some people who can live their whole lives and never ever think about the fact that something that seemed true 8 years ago isn't true in 8 years due to who is in the White House. And that's a fact. It's just how it is. But some people just never get used to that stuff. And so gay guys have not been thinking about it very well because they haven't had to. They haven't been suffering from discrimination because they've all been living in these big cities and everything. And then all of a sudden we have Trump as our president, and they are terrified that it's all going to come back. Like everything that happened to them in their childhood is all going to happen to them again. Oh my God. Oh my God. And it's not at all happening. And if it does happen, it's because they're being really, really obnoxious. So I really, 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 really would ask gay guys, stop it, cut it out. Stop being church ladies. Grow a spine. Not everybody is out to get you. And in the current year, if they are legitimately out to get you, I don't know, point me in the direction of that. I would like to see it, because I simply don't. I see hate crime hoaxes. I see guys making a catastrophe out of a canary. It's silly. Stop it. It's just, like, I don't want to say that you guys are asking for it, but you are. So yeah, stop it. Okay? Because it's gonna, if it does get to the point where there is a lot of anti-gay sentiments, it will negatively affect me as an individual. I'm gay too, and I market myself as a gay guy on YouTube. It's sort of what I do. So, all right, I'm going to move on. The next thing that is on the agenda is to talk about VidCon. I might actually go to VidCon this year. I'm still trying to see who's going to go. I definitely want to meet a few people there that I have never met in person, but I want to know who else is going to be there. And it's not that there's anybody there that I'm worried about seeing, because I know that, certain crazy people that I wouldn't want to see aren't going, but I just want to know if it's going to be worth it for me, and if there's going to be drama between other people. Like, there's no one that would possibly show up that I would have drama with, like I'm pretty like 99% positive with that fact. But some of the people that I'm friends with, maybe there would be, but I just don't know. And so, I'm deciding on that. And then there's the whole thing about the face reveal. I've done a face reveal technically. I've posted a face reveal on Twitter, and I don't mind doing face reveals at this point. I have very complicated reasons for why I don't show my face and why I don't want people to know my name for the most part. And those things will largely change over the years, but they are still true. Like, I'm not going to ever be just showing my face frequently in my videos. And it's not because I'm bad looking. I'm okay looking. It's literally because of very complicated reasons. Largely, it's due to this thing that I decided about myself as an artist. No, not so much as an artist. When I was doing music, I wanted to be the face of my music because, when I was young, I was actually pretty good looking, and I was singing and producing all the music. So obviously I should be the face of it. But I was also always a writer, and I was always writing a lot. And I always, with my writing, figured it was better for me to be off camera. I wasn't an actor, was never a particularly good actor. I could get into acting if I tried, but I was much better at just being myself all the time. And when I was in theater school for script writing, like when I was taking lots of playwriting classes, the only things I would get cast for to play were 3 things. I would get cast to play women, children, and crazy people. That was it. So if there was, if we were short a girl in the class, they would cast it with me. They would seemingly always cast me to be the children. I guess I sound like a kid. And crazy. I can do crazy. I can certainly do crazy. So yeah, I didn't want to be well known for my writing end. I didn't want to be one of these Tina Fey type people where, they write the script and they're in it or whatever. Like, no, that wasn't, I always wanted to be more behind the scenes as a writer. And I've really trained a lot as a writer. I've studied it, and I know a lot about the life of a writer and why somebody would maybe want to make that choice to be a more public person that everybody knows what they look like, and a less public person that, might have a famous name or a famous pen name. And I chose the latter of those two possibilities. And that's mostly what it is. And in terms of the Prince of Queens channel, I don't want it to be my real name, and real face is something that people associate with it. I just don't want that. But I don't mind going to VidCon and, being on camera and stuff and having people know what I look like. It's not like I, haven't doxed myself on my own streams like I have, so whatever. So yeah, I might be there if you guys are going. Hey, hit me up. Tell me if you are going and if I might want to meet you, because I should start thinking about travel arrangements. I have a few friends that live in LA, more than a few really, if I were to actually like scroll through my hundreds of Facebook friends that I never talk to. So I would like to see a few of them and hang out with them anyway. So I might actually stay for a day or two after VidCon is over. Just cause, like, some two different people in particular that I used to make music with, who I was actually quite tight with, and I haven't seen in years. It would be really cool to see them. So yeah, if anybody has any wants to share a hotel room and you're my friend or anything like that kind of a thing, hit me up. I really might actually go to VidCon. So third thing I wanted to talk about on the Sunday Ramble is my little problem that I have with arrogance. And it's not necessarily particularly bad. I just want to say it out loud because I don't want it to be bad, because it's gotten bad in years past. And as soon as you start getting arrogant, like as soon as you win and then you get arrogant, you're going to lose. That's the general pattern in life. And I've noticed that over the years. And I've noticed that with it being something that happens to me. So here's the thing. If you are a humble person, if you're a truly, truly humble person, and I don't mean YouTube humble, because YouTube humble is nonsense. Nobody with a YouTube channel is actually humble. It's all a lie. Everybody who's on YouTube, even people who only have a few hundred subscribers, is somewhat confident, somewhat egotistical. Otherwise, why on earth would you go on YouTube and post videos of yourself talking? That's absurd to even. So if you're really a humble person, somebody that just wants a respectable career and raise a family and, provide for them, blah, 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 blah. That's one thing. And you probably are never going to get particularly arrogant. But that's not a life that I quite understand. I just don't. I have friends that are kind of like that, and they're great people, but in terms of our motivations in life, it's hard for me to really, really see eye to eye with what they want as compared to what I want. But we both know that about each other. We've always known that we have very different priorities in life. And that's one of the reasons that we're able to be friends for several years. I've known these people since elementary school, and we're still friends. And they largely have always just kind of wanted a modest life and to raise a family. And that's what they're doing now. They have kids now, and it's cool. I'm friends with them. Well, I'm not like that. When I was a kid, I was largely ignored by my parents to a certain degree. Complicated reasons. It's not like they didn't want to pay attention to me. It was just a very complicated situation. And I had these type of parents that expected all of their kids to be geniuses. So like they were having me play cello when I was 5 and like be in the gifted program and all these things that were like that. And so my parents were simultaneously expecting a lot out of me, but then also not really paying very much attention to me. And I learned just naturally, it just sort of evolved into my way of being, that I only felt like I was worth something if I achieved things. Like if I was the winner of something, then my parents were stoked. Probably in particular my dad, but even my mom, who tried desperately for me to not be a very competitive person and everything. And she tried to sort of discourage that type of behavior. If I did win something or do really well in something, she would still be really happy, obviously, because she's my mother. So I learned subconsciously that that was sort of the only way for me to get attention, to get positive affirmation from my parents and my family. It was this very strange, situation in that way. And I don't think that everybody has that. So I learned through that to be very, very, very competitive and high achieving at certain things. I also, strangely, maybe not strangely, maybe this makes perfect sense. If I'm not good at something, like if, for example, I'm terrible at yoga and skateboarding. I think it's the way my body is built. I don't have good balance on a skateboard, or I'm very tall. My legs are misshapen, like one leg's longer than the other. So it's really, really hard for me to like skateboard or snowboard. I'm really bad at that. And so I just stopped doing it. I don't like doing things that I'm not naturally talented at. But if I am good at something, even if it's kind of an against all odds. Like I was a gay drum and bass DJ in the 1990s, and I got bookings. 1990s, early 2000s, I got bookings. I headlined a drum and bass rave in the main room. Like I was one of the people, when I was 21. And that scene did not have gay guys in it basically at all. And I was a DJ, and it was not that they were tokenizing me or anything. It was that I was fighting against the odds. And I've done that a number of different times in my life where I was able to achieve something and do it in spite of what everybody would have thought. But when I do that, when I get in that zone, I have a tendency to get a little bit arrogant. And there's obvious reasons for that. Like, if you're a person who is being told by, 10, 20, 100 people that you're wrong and that you're not that good and blah, 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 or they just assume that you aren't, maybe they don't necessarily tell you that, but they don't believe in you, and then you prove them wrong, well, obviously, you have a tendency to kind of say, I told you someday you'd all be sorry. That's just natural. It's totally just natural. And that's happened to me so many different times in my life. There's so many different times in which I predicted something or saw something that other people didn't. And they all not just, said, oh, maybe you're right and whatever, but they were like, no, you're wrong. We're right. And there's more of us. And I was like, okay, I don't care how many of you there are, but I'm the one who's right. Okay. And then I proved them all wrong. And a lot of them, sometimes people come around and start being like, okay, I'm going to respect you a little bit. But there's a lot of people that don't. And what I have to work on as an individual, and I think that everybody should work on this, is not taking for granted the fact that people are going to start respecting you just because you deserve respect. Like, just because you deserve respect from people doesn't mean that they're going to give it to you. And if you start kind of assuming that they're going to and that they should, then you're probably not going to get the respect anymore that you deserve. So you have to kind of just act like, just remind yourself that people are still going to doubt you. They're still going to doubt you, even if that's a mistake on their part, and even if they should be trusting you, they're still going to. And you are still going to have to make yourself clear. You're still going to have to prove yourself to people over and over and over again, even when you don't have to. And this comes up for me in various different senses. Like, it comes up for me in my personal life with things that have been happening recently, and I have to remember not to get cocky because things could go south really quick if some bad things happen. It comes up for me in terms of YouTube, where I'm largely usually right about my predictions. Like, what did I predict with the blood sports people back in February? I said exactly where this all was headed, and who was right? I mean, a number of people said that it was all going to implode and they were going to turn on each other like starving piranhas. That was sort of the consensus, but I think I came out and said it first. I've predicted things like, the Everyday Feminism blog losing all their funding after the election. I was right about that. That's my big, YouTube kind of a cool thing that happened. I predicted the election. I was one of the only people that was pretty sure that Trump was going to win, and I said so in videos. Like, you can look back at my old videos. And now I have this, what I'm trying to watch and make sure that I don't do is get arrogant with my GigTow stuff, the way that I relate to the gay male community, because I have become a little bit of an authority figure amongst a certain crowd, and I've learned to realize that that's necessary. Like, people do need leaders. Like, people do need to step up. If they realize that people are waiting for a leader, then you need to man up and just do that. And that's kind of what I'm doing with this GigTow thing to a certain degree. But at the same time, I have to remember that, like, that's a very, very, very big responsibility, and that I need to really, really, really think through every decision. I don't get to just be arrogant and say my way because reasons, like, and that I have a lot going on, and it's tempting to just sort of do that sometimes, but I got to really, really, really think things through and just not mess up with my arrogance. And the other part that my arrogance was starting to get, this was the real reason that actually inspired me to talk about arrogance and keeping your arrogance in check. My friends on Overwatch, I just had a bit of a, and I honestly, I feel bad about this, what happened. And so, hey, guy that I have been talking to, that's my good friend on Overwatch, you know who you are. You know that I feel bad about this. It was a little bit of me being arrogant that what was going on. I have been playing Overwatch with this one guy in particular for over 6 months, probably, coming up on 9 months. It's hard to really remember, but a long time. We play, multiple times a week. We talk to each other a lot, and we're like actually friends. And he and I are similar skill levels at the game. And we're at similar SR, which is the skill ranking, though he tends to be a little bit higher, which is usually probably just because I'm absolutely addicted to playing competitive. Like, I'm always playing competitive. I won't go to quick plays, which don't mess with your score. I'll just go right back into competitive, even if I'm by myself. And he doesn't really do it as much as I do. But we're about as good as each other, overall, I would say. And he trusts that about me, and he's made that clear to me. Well, we were playing with a number of other people, and long story short, the other group of people kind of broke up, and we stopped playing with them so much, which is fine. That happens. People don't always mesh well as a group of 6 or 7 people that are in regular rotation. After 6 months or so, there's bound to be a little bit of conflict. Like, that just happens, whatever. And so people have been sort of exploring, finding new people. And I found a few friends, but they are people that are they aren't grouped up, but it seems that my friend has found some kind of a group of people that he's playing with all of a sudden. And what happened is that I started playing with them, and they didn't seem to think that I was going to be a very good player, because my score ranking had gone down due to me solo queuing a lot, mainly. And due to the fact that, see, I play Sombra as a main, and Sombra is only really a powerful character if you can communicate with your teammates. And there's been a lot of people not in the voice chat this season over the past month. So my skill ranking went down because I can't really play my best character. I've been trying to pick up other characters just to even things out. So that being said, I started playing with these people, and they acted like maybe I wasn't really that good. They didn't have a lot of faith in me. And my friend, I don't want to put words into his mouth, but he didn't do in my opinion, and I've made this clear to him, he didn't do a good enough job explaining to them that, no, I am actually quite, he could have said, look, Prince is actually a really good player, just have faith in him. But he never really did that. He didn't make it clear to these people to have faith in me. And so it was, you can tell when you're playing a team game that when they think that you're the weakest link. Like, it was pretty obvious that they thought that I was the weakest link. But the thing is that these new people that we're playing with, they're not even that good. They're not as good as they think that they are. They're not fun. Like, I don't really, they just have weird attitudes. Like, even when we're winning, they don't have a particularly good attitude. So I eventually got frustrated with them. Like, I left the games once or twice, and then eventually I was actually full on rude to this girl. And honestly, I don't have a problem with her. Like, really, I thought about it and I was like, wait, I shouldn't have been rude to her in the way that I was. Like, I don't necessarily think that she has the best attitude in the world, but I was really more annoyed with the other guys that my friend has been playing with. And I ended up sort of taking it out on this girl, who's a pretty good player and wasn't the worst by any means. She just kind of a little bit negative is my only problem with her. But I realized that whole fight was kind of built around my arrogance. Like, I had the arrogant notion that my friend was supposed to have made it clear to these people that I'm really good at this game. And I felt personally insulted that he didn't do it. And since he didn't, I decided to, like, kind of snap at this girl who didn't really deserve it. And I probably hurt her feelings, to be perfectly honest. Like, I probably did. And I feel bad about that. So yeah, it did come from my arrogance ultimately. And that's, it's not so much that, okay, so my friend admits that he did something wrong and that he should have told them that I'm a good player and that he didn't do that properly. He's admitted that to me, right? But I have to hold myself accountable for my own actions and admit to myself that my arrogance was a factor. Like, if a woman keeps getting sexually assaulted because she keeps wearing mini skirts, like, and guys keep groping her at bars or something, she can decide that A, yes, it's bad that they're doing that, but B, maybe I shouldn't constantly wear a mini skirt if it's really bothering me that these guys are groping. Well, I'm making that choice. I'm saying A, yes, my friend should have said this, but B, I shouldn't have been so arrogant that I was going to get mad at some stranger because he hadn't. My friend should have told her, Prince is actually really good at this game. He's every bit as good as I am. He should have said that. If he didn't, I'm pretty sure he didn't. But yes, he absolutely should have. But I shouldn't have just, been mean to her because she didn't know that. Because he didn't tell her, really, that was my arrogance. I got to keep it in check, and everybody should, especially people on YouTube, especially if you start, feeling like you're winning on YouTube. If you get a bunch of subscribers, you grow to over 1,000 subscribers when you had never had any, and suddenly you have 1,000. Don't get arrogant, kiddo. I mean, ask Schmeckle of the Cunt Stream about how he feels about being so arrogant. I don't mind calling out Schmeckle at this point because of the crappiness that he treated me a few months ago. He thought that he was like part of the cool YouTube kids because he was in on attacking Jeff Holiday, and then he tried to get in on attacking me, but he didn't even really know why he was going to be attacking me. He just figured, oh, well, I heard that, I guess Prince is someone that we're supposed to attack too. So Schmeckle started like kind of attacking me, and he started attacking me all over Twitter, and he was like tagging Andy Warski and I don't know who else. Like, he tagged all sorts of people hoping to get them involved in some sort of Twitter dogpile against me because I was making him look like an idiot. And nobody else joined in on it. Like, nobody else was like, yeah, Prince of Queens, I have Schmeckle's back. You're stupid and gay. Like, I guess maybe he was hoping or something that it just didn't happen. That was because Schmeckle got arrogant. He thought that he was maybe a little bit cooler than he is. And that's a shame because I didn't have a problem with that guy. Like, he wasn't why I went around the cunt stream. I was friends with Wrath of Controversy. I actually really like Wrath of Controversy. He's a really good guy. And let that be known. Like, I've always liked that guy. That guy has integrity. He's a nice guy. And yeah. But I also didn't have a problem with Schmeckle. But man, it was really, really telling when Schmeckle got a few subscribers and a few super chats due to being involved in this drama. He just threw everyone under the bus. And it wasn't even that he did anything. It was a very like, go to Candy Mountain, betray Nick and Jeff, betray Prince of Queens, Schmeckle, do it, it'll be awesome, you'll be popular. And it's sad that happened to him, really, because I don't want to be his friend anymore. There's nothing that's ever going to get me to be Schmeckle's friend anymore. But I don't ultimately don't wish ill will on him. I don't have anything, like, I don't have an axe to grind. I just don't have any interest in being his friend. There's certain lines you don't cross, especially if it's on a public platform. I take my channel seriously. I do something serious in regards to men's advocating for the gender-specific issues of men and boys, and especially in the context of gay males. That's what I do on YouTube. I can't have relationships with other YouTubers who will lie about my friends or lie about me for personal profits. If that is something that you have done even once, if I know that you're saying something untrue about me, especially, but also people that I care about who I think are good people, if I know that you're prone to do that on YouTube, I'm just not going to have anything to do with you. And that's a professional rule that if you want to have a serious platform and to be taken seriously, you have to abide by. And, a lot of people would say, oh, Prince of Queens, you take yourself too seriously. You're not that important. Well, that's funny. They sure give me a lot of hate speech strikes for somebody that's not important. They sure unsubscribe a lot of my channel subscribers. They sure throttled my Twitter handle. Like, nobody ever sees my tweets, including people that definitely don't have me unfollowed and totally would want to, have told me that they never see my tweets. So they've certainly done a lot to sabotage my channel for somebody that nobody cares about. For somebody that started a whole, almost a movement accidentally of gay guys who are rebelling against feminism and starting their own channels and calling themselves GigTow. It would be kind of odd if nobody cared about me, but I have to remember, not to get arrogant. Because the second I do get arrogant, the second I think I've got it made, then I will slip up and I could be ruined. I could ruin myself. And because, I mean, honestly, what I'm doing in the world is just beginning. I'm going to be very, very, very busy for the next 3 or 4 years just doing this stuff. And maybe I can take a little bit of a break at that point. But I certainly can't get arrogant because the world is in very, very strange shape right now. And there's very, very few people that are qualified to talk about certain things. And if I really wish that I wasn't one of them. I wish that I could just make music and write gay rom-coms. People liked it when I did things that were more like that, but there is no world for that anymore. So I have to be one of the leader people. I have to do that for the gay male community, and gay guys tell me that they want me to. Gay guys literally tell me that they think I'm the guy to do it. So I have to, but I have to not be arrogant. Otherwise, if that happens, I will screw up. Okay, bye.